Hello friends. Today the purpose of this video is to give you the example of some kind of research studies that I have described in previous videos, and here I will give you the examples of some studies so that you can understand the different kinds of study designs, and secondly to understand the difference between the research methodology and research methods by giving example of the studies that I had promised before. So here I am at the PubMed, the largest database of medical research. So here I will open one of my recently published article. Here it is. I will go to the full text instead. So now see, this was my research paper. It's actually a systematic review which was published this year, and look at this. Now see the title of this research paper: a systematic review of sodium glucose cotransporter 2 SGLT2 inhibitors and sympathetic nervous system inhibition, an underrated mechanism of cardiorenal protection. So now this research paper is written about the role of sodium glucose inhibitors in the cardiorenal protection with the sympathetic nervous system inhibition as one of the mechanisms. This was a research problem. Research problem was, what was the research problem? See the effect of SGLT2 inhibitors on the sympathetic nervous system in patients with cardiorenal diseases, in which the SGLT2 is claimed to be quite beneficial. So this is a systematic review. What does mean by systematic review? I could have answered this question by other methods of research. I could have answered it in the observational study. I could have mentioned through the solve this problem through a clinical trial, but I choose to do it through a systematic review because of it's easy, less time consuming, it doesn't need so much resources, it doesn't need patience. Only, as I have described in previous video, I have to collect the data from the previous studies. I have to combine different previous studies on the same topic to draw a result. So what I did here, I will skip this introduction. I will straight away go to the methods. Now see, this is the method section of this research. Now this is the method of this particular research paper for answering this particular research question, and it is the research method only for this paper of mine. If I'm writing another paper, if I'm doing another research, I will employ a different research technique. I will employ a different research design. It could be the similar systemic review or something else, but the method will be different. So in this, see this method includes the search strategy. Like see, according to the Prisma, we conducted a systemic review using electronic databases from January 16 to this February 2022. So it is describing the databases: search, PubMed, Google Scholar, Biomed. Here it is again telling you what mesh terms did we use. This is the method. I'm describing the method. How did I collect the data? This is the study selection. 2 reviewers independently studies the acceptable citations we included yesterday. This is my inclusion exclusion criteria. It describes what kind of studies did I include and what kind of studies did I exclude. This is the method. I'm continuing my method. I am describing my method to my readers, that how did I conduct the study. Now it is data extraction, methodological quality assessment. These are different things. You will understand these things hopefully when you will get involved in this method. This results. Now see these results. I am describing my results on the basis of my methods. In previous paragraphs, I described my methods. Now I am describing my results. This is a Prisma diagram. Hopefully you will know it about soon. Here I am describing how many papers did I include, study characteristics. So see, these are the studies that I included in this systematic review. I did the systematic review of these studies. Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I think continuing. There are more than 7 studies. See 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So these are the, I think 12 studies. So these are the 12 major studies that I selected from different regions, published in the different journals. This is their description, what kind of studies they were, whether they were a randomized clinical trial, their systematic reviews, cohort studies. So different kind of studies I combined from different journals and this different countries with this much of patients involved in these studies, and these were the major outcomes of these all studies. And in the end, after combining all these studies, I will give a conclusion. See, we have reached our conclusions, and here I have written my conclusion on this topic, and I have concluded this study. Now, whatever the methods I applied in this to collect the data, to review the studies, to extract the data, these were the methods for this particular study. How did I know to do a systematic review? How did I knew to conduct this data, this research in this way? Research methodology. Research methodology is a science which tells us that you can solve the research problem in different ways. And now it is up to you which method, which technique do you choose as your research method for your research question. Now this is another research published. See, this research is about depressive symptoms in Chinese family caregivers of patients with heart failure. So this is a study which describes that is there any depressive symptoms present in the caregivers, in the family members of patients who are living with heart failure. So this study was conducted in China, but this is a kind of cross-sectional study. I described in previous video what is a cross-sectional study. Cross-sectional study is a type of study. It is such a study in which we collect the data once in a time point, at a one particular time point only once, and then we collect all that data once from the patients, from the subjects, from the records, from the history, and then we make the conclusions. See, methods. Again, in this paper there is methods. Method involves study design, cross-sectional descriptive design. It continues from June 2013 to June 2014. That means that this study was continued for 1 year at this particular ward of teaching hospital in China somewhere. Okay, sample. So now it is describing. First it described its study design and method. This is method. The researcher is telling you method. How did he conduct research? He first described you his study design. It was cross-sectional. He chose this method through research methodology. Then sample. He is describing how did he conducted his sample. And measures. He is telling you what did he measure during research. Participants' data were collected at inpatient cardiac ward in hospital prior to discharge, including characteristics, depressive symptoms, objective caregiving burden, subjective caregiving burden. So, instruments that were used in the study include a demographic survey. See, I have described you that you can take the data through different ways. It is saying that it conducted a demographic data through survey, a questionnaire. It also used a questionnaire and a burden interview. So it applies the three methods of data collection: survey, a questionnaire, and an interview. Then it is describing further here characteristics of caregivers with depressive symptoms. So whatever he did during the data collection and data compiling, he's telling you. Now the researcher is also telling you the data analysis. How did he analyze the data? SPSS 16 was used to perform the data. Okay, now this researcher is telling you that he used the SPSS version 16. Descriptive statistics were used to describe the participants' demographic and training. This whole, the researcher is telling you how did he analyze the data. This is method. This is the method is being continued. The researcher continues to tell you the method. How did he performed all his research results. Now here in this section, the researcher is explaining his results obtained through that such methods. Likewise, in this study, the researcher is telling you that average age of patient was 66.3 years, as standard deviation. Majority of them were men. Now he's describing his he's describing you the educational level. So different things. I'm not going into detail. The purpose is that this is another kind of research method, other kind of study design. This is a cross-sectional study design in which the researcher has mentioned different research methods. In the end, he gives you conclusion. I hope that this example would have cleared the difference between research methods and research methodology. Research methodology is a science which tells you how to conduct different researches, how to solve different problems, what kind of techniques to use for a particular problem. And these two examples show you that two different researchers solve two different problems in two different methods. Thank you.